Promotions at Barnstable Police Department. With me today, Chief Sonnabend.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Wonderful weather we're having.
Oh, absolutely.
Where's fall?
Fall, it's second summer, local summer,
Yeah,
right?
Indian summer?
Yeah.
Second summer? I like that, second summer. Shoulder
summer.
season, second summer.
Exactly.
Hey.
And
Good.
absolutely fabulous. All this week will be nice. Last week for the promotion ceremony, you
Beautiful.
promoted a
Cartload?
a cartload, a boatload, 7 individuals were
Yep.
promoted this past week. Tell us a little bit about the process of getting promotions. You're a civil service organization, so how does that happen? You went lieutenants and sergeants.
Yep. Well, it's basically the same thing. You know, it's because we are a civil service agency, there is a test. Civil service gives you the option. You can either have a written exam or a combination written exam and assessment center. Traditionally, we've done the written exam for all the ranks, but over the years, like the chiefs has gone to just an assessment center. The deputy chiefs has gone to an assessment center, and but the lower ranks have still stayed a written exam. What the civil service will do, they'll have you take the written exam first, and if you pass that, then you go on to an assessment center. So they get some questions and some stuff like that, some practical exercises to work through. So it's not just evaluating how good you do on a written exam, but how well you can speak to others, solve problems, and things like that. So what we did for this is they had the written exam that they had already done. So we got them all together. We have to do interviews. We have a policy that we do interviews and whatnot. So we had an outside company come in and do some interviews and do a little exercises with the groups to have them do a little bit of problem solving and see where they get. Because a lot of times the downfall of a written exam is, it assesses how well you memorize some material and you can answer A, B, or C, but it doesn't really get to the root of, well, why did you get that answer? Because sometimes how people get to an answer is just as important as the answer they come up with. So a nice little couple exercises are nice to evaluate what you got going on and see what you're going. But because, like I said, because we are civil service, it's really test driven. So you could, just come into work every day, take the test, score really well, and you go to the top of the list. So there's a bunch of procedures we got to go through to try and find the best candidates. But we still are bound by rules as to who you can pick and when, and it's kind of like our hiring process, bypasses and things like that. Non-civil service departments have it a little bit different. They can structure it to whatever whatever fits their community a little bit, whatever fits their department and their needs. But we are civil service, and because of that, just like our new hire exams, the tests for sergeants, lieutenants, and most of those ranks are all every 2 years. So that list will stay active for 2 years, and I think the one the sergeants are on runs till 2021, and the one the lieutenants are on expires this coming up February. So there'll be a new exam. They just had the new exam a couple of days over the weekend.
All right. So you had 5 new sergeants promoted. What's the difference in their duties from a patrol person to a sergeant? Is it more supervisory now? Is it a specific division that they're actually controlling, or is it just that they're the person that would be in charge at a specific event or something like that?
Well, the way we work is the lieutenants are in charge of the shifts.
Okay.
They have their shift commander. They have overall charge of the shift. But you only have one lieutenant assigned to a shift, so they're not there every day. As much as we'd like them to be there every day all the time, they can't be there every day. So the sergeants fill in. The senior sergeant will be step in for the lieutenant when the lieutenant is off or whatever, and runs the shift for a day. The lieutenant's got overall oversight of the shift, but then the sergeant will take control of that shift for the day. Usually we got 2 sergeants working at least. If not a sergeant, a lieutenant, then it'll be a sergeant, a sergeant. We staff the shifts. 1 sergeant will be outside on the road as the patrol supervisor. 1 sergeant will be inside as what we call the watch commander, and deals with people that come into the station, oversees dispatch, and takes care of the booking and the prisoners and whatever administrative duties need to be done that day on the shift, and kind of keeps track of everything, keeps everybody informed. But realistically, when we're not around, when I'm not around, or the deputy chiefs aren't around, the sergeants, whoever's there that day, whatever supervisor they're kind of like the de facto chief, so you got to have a lot of trust in the people that are out there running your shifts, because they really step in. They're representing you, and they're representing the whole department and running everything. So I think that what we have was a real good core of supervisors, and they do an excellent job. But to get back to the first part of your question, what do they do and what are their duties every day? And to me, the most important rank in any agency, especially ours, bigger agency like ours, is that sergeant rank, because they are, that bridge between me and the patrol. They're the ones, I can't be everywhere every day. They're the ones that talk to, the patrolmen every day. They're there, they know what the conditions are. Patrol has an issue, feeds it to the sergeant, it comes up to me. We develop in programs, we get the sergeants involved, and they feed it down to patrol. So a sergeant rank is a really key to the overall health and welfare of the agency itself. They are where the rubber meets the road. Key to any organization in my eyes.
Right. And then 2 lieutenants. So again, probably somewhat similar to that same sergeant piece, but a little bit of a higher level, maybe more on the side of helping you create policy and things like that rather than delivering the policy.
Exactly. Because the way patrol works, patrol is 90% of everything we do. So all these promotions, these people are all going to patrol. Because wherever we are, whatever we're doing, that is the main mission of the police department, providing that patrol service, answering that 911, and making sure that gets done. So no matter where you are in our building, you have to have an understanding of how that works. And I think it's imperative that supervisors spend time down on patrol, because eventually you're going to get to a point where you're going to come up with some great policy that you really like, but you got to have an understanding of how that affects people everywhere else in the agency. Hey, does this really work? Is this practical? You still have to have conversations with people and make sure that what you're doing is practical, but you also have to have a little bit of basis of knowledge of like, well, I've been there, and that really doesn't sound like such a good idea to me. So you got to have that practicality. But yeah, because of the way we are, lieutenants do maintain, a shift lieutenant does maintain a strong bond to their officers and the people that are assigned to them on their shifts. Not as strong as the sergeants, because the sergeants are there every day and there's more of them. They get more contact. But the lieutenants do still have a strong bond with the people they work with, and they should, because in the end, they got to represent them to me. We got to make things work for them and make sure everything works in the right way. But lieutenants do have a little bit more of an administrative function too, because now you're trying to get them involved in some staff functions, because they need to know administratively what they can do, how they can do it, how does the budget work, and how do my choices, affect the department's budget, or how things just work above where I am today. So they have to kind of have an eye a little bit higher while keeping their feet in the ground and down on patrol. So, but then it's like anywhere else, it's communication. I gotta give them enough information to trust that they're gonna make the right decisions that affect us all overall in the right way.
Right. And what I noticed in most of the bios of the sergeants and lieutenants is the amount of education that these folks put in addition to their day job, right? They've got masters, and they're, the masters in all sorts of different types of law enforcement topics. Speak to a little bit about how they balance that. I mean, it just, these master's programs and some of these bachelor programs that these guys are going through is not necessarily easy to do after an 8-hour shift on the road.
And throwing kids and other things that you have going on.
Right?
Yeah, family life and everything. But I think that's a credit to their families too, because like I said, when we were talking at the promotions, these people didn't get there to where they are themselves. They got there because other people made sacrifices to allow them to go to school or to work an extra shift or to pursue something else, like be a detective or something else, in order to fulfill their dreams and chart the course they saw towards promotion. So they really depended on the people around them, the people they work with, the people at home, and their friends that have really helped them get through this. And I think that's really important, because without that help, you're right, it would have been a difficult course to chart, maybe impossible to get all that done. But it speaks to their motivation. They're out there, they see that, hey, police promotions are a competitive process. And when it comes down to different things, you want to make sure maybe you get that one little extra bit. But also, getting out there and getting some education and reading on a daily basis, whatever it is, keep your mental acuity going.
Right.
Really helps. Makes your job easier. It makes you more well-rounded. So
right.
it's really it's key. So it is good.
Right. And we'll close with this. Please name the officers that were promoted.
All right. We got Lieutenant Gretchen Allen, Lieutenant Jennifer Ellis. We got Sergeant Megan Cunningham, Sergeant Matt Blondin, Sergeant Joseph Green, Sergeant Nathan St. Onge, and I'm missing one off the top of my head. Kevin Fulham, Sergeant Kevin Fulham. You know, so we're going to be looking probably for a canine officer coming up here pretty shortly too. So.
Yeah, I asked if Vonnie was getting promoted. He said no.
No, she's not getting. She's getting an extra biscuit though.
Extra biscuit.
Sergeants can afford more biscuits.
That's fantastic. Thanks so much, Chief.
Have a great day.